That's 11. That's 11. That one.
Scary whispering.
Jesus,
I have to mute you, whoever that is. It will probably key Alan's there. Okay. It might be better for us to just mute everyone for now, and then
Okay.
unmute if we need. You can unmute yourself there, Jim.
Okay, we get started now.
Yep.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the 648th Ovale. I don't know what number virtual Ovale this is. Is it like the 4th or 5th one now?
Fifth one.
5th. Okay, we've done this 5 months now. That's great. So for those of you who haven't been here tonight, our night is broken up into, well, 3 parts. So first of all, we'll have the 5-word challenge, which I'll explain in a moment. Following that, we will be having our guest poets who have come over from Coventry. And I will introduce them both. So Emilie, Lauren Jones and Matt Black. And following our guest poets, we will have a open mic session. And we also have a special guest as well, the Lord Mayor of Cork. Deputy Lord Mayor Cork. So I think we can kind of jump into the 5-word challenge. So how that works is you, the audience, will give us 5 words, and then, you know, like 5 words, 1 from a person till we get 5. And you'll have 15 minutes to compose a poem or little piece of flash fiction or something short to which you then kind of read to everyone. And then for the virtual Ovale, we'll have a kind of a voting system in the chat room, and the person with the most votes will win the 5-word challenge, and they will get a copy of Nostoc by Dara Brian and the 5 words volume 8, which is like all of the Ovale 5-word challenges. Paul has pictures of them there, or has them on his video there. So I think we can get started now. So could I have 5 words from people, please? Is eldritch a word? Okay, we're going to need the definition.
Eldritch is a word.
Okay, what's the definition of that? We're going to need that. I've never heard of that before.
It's like odd and sort of like spooky, otherworldly.
Odd and
ancient, otherworldly.
Yeah.
So could you just say like
the
forest was eldritch?
Yeah,
I used it. I had it in a poem, an eldritch scream. So it's like something strange and unworldly and a bit spooky.
Yeah, it says weird or ghostly or sinister here.
Like something fairy.
Otherworldly, I'd go with that.
Old style fairies.
Right, okay. So eldritch is our first word. Our second word is grapefruit. Our third word is shoehorn, which is one of those little things you slide into your shoe to pop them off or put them on, I don't know which way. Then we've got moon, and then we've got pig, so like moonpig.com. I think that's everything. So that's eldritch, grapefruit, shoehorn, and then moonpig.
Eldritch, grapefruit, moon. Did you say moon and pig as 2 different words?
They're 2 different words, yeah.
Okay. I thought you said moon pig. I was like, what's a moon pig? Thanks, Jim.
Okay, so you've got 15 minutes, guys.
Moonpig.com.
Enjoy.
Okay, guys, so that's time. We are now ready to hear some poems. So if you've got one, please put your name in the chat and a little hyphen, 5 words, just like Simon did there. So Simon, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Dear Sir, very often we read the phrase, "when pigs fly" in your esteemed publication. To my constant dismay, allow me to sow some discourse. Why were we shoehorned? I grew up in a fine sty, but was told it is impossible. A pig with wings is an eldritch horror. The farmer's kids threw half-eaten grapefruit and orange peels. They laughed, making oinking noises. Quite frankly, I was fed up with being treated like swine. Like a caterpillar, I dutifully rearranged the different cells in my body. I forced my DNA to make feathers. Out of spite, sir, I grew these wings, and now it is I, the pig on the moon, and I shall not hesitate to sue you for libel. You have been served. I shall see you in pork court.
Wow, it was amazing, Simon. Well done. Next, we have Pam.
Okay. The buck moon casts sectional shadows, parts the leaves of water oaks at river's edge, like a grapefruit ripe for a suckling pig, shoehorned into the blue-black of summer's heat, misted with the breath of the eldritch.
Lovely, thank you, Pam. And next, can we have Andrea? It's Andrea.
Hang on a sec. Okay. The poet read about an eldritch moon. They'd shoehorned in so many adjectives, each stanza bowed under the weight. Some pig in the corner snorted into his pint at the word moon, as if poets are sick of moons, and the grapefruit mannered sordid written about eagles, for goodness sake. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Andrea. Next, can we have Amy?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I dreamt I was back home, laying flat on my belly, smelling the wooden floor. Dust came into my nose, so I rose, sneezed into my elbow, like the good girl I am. When I saw my feet, they were flirting with the shoehorn, whispering something about dancing. In the corner was a tiny door that opened once I saw it, and my mother, shrunk and tiny, came with a plate of bitter grapefruit. And when I declined, she began to play flute, just like every Sunday morning. In this dream, I dared the unknown, so I stepped over the threshold holding a spoon, and it was my own face reversed that followed me. Where, you ask? To the moon. We arrived, and I and my upside down, we were at the entrance to the ballroom, where a space pig in a cloak waited to greet us. Welcome to Ovale. I didn't understand that eldritch word, but I entered bravely and danced on the moon, spoon in hand, poem on my tongue. Then I woke.
Thanks, Amy. Next, can we have Pippa? I think you're on mute there, Pippa.
Can you hear me? Something eldritch entered in, a ghost, a pull of gravity, it seemed. I shifted sideways into shadows, a shoehorn push to wedge right in. Into moonlight, away from longing, that which I could not comprehend. It frightened me. I stayed undone. Bitter grapefruit on my tongue, of fear and untimely dread. A noise, a hush, a pig, a poke from all of this, I could not woke. Oh, otherworldly dreams and strange lights shimmered, so disconcerting, this unique emergency of all the living.
Thank you, Pippa. So next we have Emilie.
I tread barefoot across the not quite damp grass, its bristles tickling my toes as I stare up at the moon, that great grey grapefruit silently spinning above us. Some nights I point the telescope towards swirling pigtails of galaxies, or watch the Pleiades sparkling like a clump of glitter. Nothing focuses my mind faster than vastness. Tonight, I'm after poetic genius. Flicking open a can, setting free its gentle hiss, I wonder at the immenseness above and how I can possibly shoehorn Eldridge into a poem.
Beautiful, thanks, Emilie. Next, can we have Augustina?
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Eldritch desires. If I could describe it, I would not know when to start. I guess you can imagine a pig with a rash on its back, unable to itch. Seeing a shoehorn within reach, but with no thumb, so you can't lift it. A romantic evening sitting on a hill with someone you like to look at and played so right to get a poke at, and the sky is covered in pink clouds, similar to the pink you see in grapefruits, needing to toot just a little, you know, toot toot, but scared that if you toot a bit too hard, you might have an accident. Anyway, we have a serious drought happening, and I never thought that I had any addictions, but experiencing such restrictions is having me look at myself a little more closely than usual. And the things I did that became habitual. Anyway, Eldritch desire is just as best as I could explain it. I'm a pig with no thumbs and a rash on my back. No fun at all.
Thanks, Augustina. Next, can we have Doc Janning?
Okay, a bit of doggerel. It was an ancient eldritch moon, which shone this day at top of noon upon a large and ivied dune, overlooking a reeking rig, wherein there was a Duroc pig, which was smoking some Turkish cigs. It was shoehorned, shoe-spooned in, this extra small bin, for committing an otherworldly sin, connected with a great big grapefruit, which now made its hind end toot, going a rooty toot, 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 toot.
Thanks, Doc. Next, can we have Scott, please?
Okay, hiya. Mine's very short and sweet. Bright full moon, yellow like a grapefruit, but too large for a small suckling pig, held aloft between the eldritch stars, whilst the plough shoehorns a comet's tail.
Thank you very much, Scott. Next, can we have Mose? Oh, you're muted there.
Sorry, I'll start again. You have done it again. Drenched in eldritch atmosphere, you jumped over the moon and disappeared into the rabbit hole of WhatsApp hieroglyphs and other emojis. Never was a man less like a pig, but I am shoehorned at the back of the nut and fruit bowl between grapefruit and lemon, so far removed from the passion fruit I want to be, that it is breathtaking and utterly heartbreaking.
Thanks very much, Mose. Next, can we have? Next, can we have? Is it Maura or Marie? I think
Moira.
Myra, hi.
Oh. Okay, right, hoping I can read my writing. Pale grapefruit moon hangs low, and down below we wait. Pigs to the slaughter. Fathers, sons, mothers, daughters, we wait. Hold our loved ones close and pray. Pray to see another day. We wait. Silent darkness surrounds us. Still forest around us. No creatures stir. No bats, no birds. Their time is near, and in our fear we wait. Wait for them, those not of mortal men. For they will pray they will not come again. We wait. Then the silence rent by eldritch cry. The dark hunt rides across the sky. We cower in our homes, pray to survive the midnight hour. We wait. The hunt will ride till break of sun. Now we wait and pray, pray to see another day.
Thank you, Myra. So next we have Anne and Tracy beside you as well. Yeah, okay, Anne. So Anne first there.
Where I am. The setting sun sank like a grapefruit into a pool of strawberry juice as the full moon came into view. The old elf took his shoehorn to help pull on his riding boots, saddled up his favourite pig. This is an eldritch night, he said, perfect for a moonlit ride. He rode for miles. The pig was not so keen. Ride on, the elf said, or you'll be bacon, and at least it will be lean.
And then we've Tracy.
Underneath an eldritch moon, poets are meeting on Zoom, trying to shoehorn in another pun whilst recovering from the day's sun. Sweating like a pig all day at work. I was in the midday heat, gardening like a Burke. At least I wasn't having to wear a suit. Now to end this poem with the word grapefruit.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tracy. Next we have Ada. You've given me your poem, Ada. I see. Do you want to try reading it yourself?
I'll read it if the connection doesn't break because I'm having problems with my provider and still having them, so okay. I cannot be certain. Okay. The poem is suggested by our earlier conversation about the Moonland and everything. The moon pig liveth, or Kubrick's lament. When Kubrick grew his moon pig, he thought it would be the size of an average grapefruit. But the eldritch thing, bent like a shoehorn, was as big as he. One day, the moon pig, it left its lab pit, size of a Kubrick, and off the thing flew. Sad Kubrick, sad Stan, stared at the empty moon sky and swearing, switched off the lab lights. That's it.
Moon sty, that's a good one.
Moon pig, moon sty, yeah, all the theme is uncovered there.
Next, thanks, Ada. Next, I think we have D. Allen.
Yeah, I'm here. Let me switch on the camera. And now you get to see my unphotogenic face. Denzel Washington, I'm not. Anyways, here's what came out of this 15-minute free write period. I'm consigning this to the trash afterwards. It's just an exercise. Obale fragment. This night of all nights seemed eldritch in its nature. People with signs and banners of different colors and cultures came out in force for a brother and a sister on America's streets. There are three kinds of folks out tonight: protesters, rioters, and looters. Shops were broken into. One had its window smashed with a thrown stone the size of a grapefruit. Nobody will mourn the loss of a Wells Fargo bank, one of those financial institutions that managed to shoehorn redlining, foreclosure, and funding the racist police among their services. Riot control cops looking like quite a military force came out too to stop the movement for Black lives in its tracks. Tanks, Army, Marine surplus rifles, and flak jackets mark every pig as the enemy. To them, we were the enemy, worthy of being gassed, stunned, shot, tackled, and contained for the safety of the 1%. As the town burned like a full brush fire in August, the marchers, riders, bystanders all bellowed to the full moon above in the hour of chaos. This is for Rashad, Brianna, George, Elijah. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. That's it.
Thank you, Dee. Next we have Richard.
Hello.
Oh, Richie. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Jim. My father broke his arm over lockdown. He floundered and fell 10 feet from a ladder. And in a moment, his past, present, and future flashed, shoehorned memories and dreams screamed by in what felt like an eternity but lasted a second. His first day back at work had an eldritch twist planned as he landed flat on his back, unable to send sensations to his toes. But we thank the moon and the stars he was only reaching for a chainsaw when he fell and not clasping it above his head. He recovered slowly, and I moved home to help out. Long days got tense as restlessness set in the pretense of a new dependent relationship. But moments of levity lifted our spirits. We bonded and cherished the moments together, knowing that he could as easily have perished. Like sharing a wine from 1994 bought on the day I was born to acknowledge that it had spoiled and smelled similar to pig shit. Through these bitter moments, we savored this sweetness as if biting into an orange but tasting a grapefruit.
Thanks very much, Rishti. Good to see you. Next, can we have Phil Spillane?
Hey everyone, can you hear me clearly? Cool, we'll jump right into it. The cosmic sailor met with the star sailor at the crossroads between Mars and Uranus. They nearly shoehorned, collided crossways, just outside light speed. And watch where you're going. You're driving like they do on the roads back at home, you pig, cursed one. And fancy meeting you here, muttered the other. Then the eldritch awkwardness of space silence tensioned around the two, the cloudy atmosphere of cultural aggression from their marble blue home, which up here was nothing more than a star. Want some moon grapefruit? It's fresh, offered the cosmic sailor. Ah, sure. I have some Mars whiskey, if you like, replied the star sailor. They anchored down and watched a red cyclone revolving from a planet below, talking about home, the solitude, and how they prefer to sleep in zero gravity. Then on, they became long-term friends, the astronaut and the cosmonaut. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Phil. So a couple of comments here. Oh, we've got Rachel. Is that beside Rishti there? Yeah, hi Rachel. Okay.
Hello. Hi. This is called Small Town Coven. 5 meet again over Chardonnay at the round table at the top of the town. On Monday, bottles come 2 for 1. Topping up each other's glasses and filling minds with ideas, body curve. We compare boobs and bums, squeezing them like oranges and grapefruits in a sunny marketplace. A man interrupts to ask us where we are from, and we shut him down quickly to stop himself shoehorning into our eldritch coven. Where are you from? He asks again. He hasn't got the hint. From here. We hope our accents make it clear. We really just want to chat amongst ourselves. It's a girl's thing. And a full moon, I add, suggesting curses, something more powerful bubbling beneath the surface. But where are you really from? The pig continues, eyeing black bodies in our midst. From hell, where you're going to end up if you keep interrupting us.
Sorry, Jim, we've got the Deputy Lord Mayor coming in there.
Oh, okay. Des Cahill, is it? Has he come through? So guys, we're going to welcome the Deputy Lord Mayor of Cork here. It's Des Cahill, and he's come especially for tonight with the Coventry Cork Poetry Exchange. So could we have a big warm welcome to him, please?
Woo! There you go. Yeah. Pleasure. All right, I said I'd wear the chain just to prove.
You had to wear the gold.
I wasn't sure, so I said I put it on. So it's lovely to be here and to deputise for my good friend Joe Kavanagh, the Lord Mayor. I suppose I was fortunate enough to be a Lord Mayor about 4 years ago, but I didn't get to meet the Coventry delegation. So tonight's great for me to be able to log in and to welcome our twin city of Coventry. And I'd like to thank Paul from O'Vale for inviting me tonight. I suppose all of those who would know me would know that poetry probably isn't my forte. So when I was looking up about O'Vale today, I noticed that you go to the Long Valley and the Keno and so on. And I suppose the only connection I have with the Long Valley is I was altar boy with Padder from the Long Valley about 40 years ago. And I was probably very fearful delivering meat from our butcher shop in town to his dad, Humphrey. I did look up, I went down, I live near the marina, so I went down to the marina this evening for a bit of inspiration to see if I could come up with anything remotely close to poetry. So I found a poem by Patrick Galvin from 1973.
Oh, well done.
And yesterday I was asked out on a boat, and I hadn't been on a boat in a long time, and we were out by Roach's Point. So the poem is about the mad woman of Cork, and I'll just read one brief verse. And if I die now, don't touch me. I want to sail in a longboat from here to Roach's Point, and there I will anoint the sea with oil of alabaster. I am the mad woman of Cork, and today is the feast day of St. Anne. Feed me. So that's as good as I could get.
Paddy Bischoff.
In relation to Cork and the river and so on. We're so blessed, and it was such a lovely evening. I think we're all taking advantage of it. And I suppose if COVID has taught us anything, it's taught us to appreciate what we have. And I think, kudos to yourselves for not leaving a pandemic get in the way of meeting your friends and of continuing your friendship and your sharing of poetry and so on. So well done to you, because it's a difficult form to get a feel of how everyone is. But I'm sure you're having a great evening, and I suppose I got to wear the bling for the evening. So so welcome to Cork, and well done to O'Vale. Can keep up the good work. I know everyone in City Council is very happy to support both, and hopefully the next time everyone meets, when you're in the Long Valley, please let me know. I'll be happy to go in and tease Padder about the altar boy days. And thank you for having me, and I'll stay on for a while to see what's going on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming to meet us.
Yeah, no trouble. So how has it gone so far this evening?
Excellent. Yeah, we've got a big turnout here. People from America, people from England, all over Ireland. So it's busy. It's a more attended than, well, more traveled than normal. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That is the advantage of Zoom.
For sure.
My wife teaches English actually, and so she starts at 9 a.m. But some of her students from Panama have to log on at 3 a.m., Brazil 5 a.m. and so on, and then she could equally have Russians in the class at the same time. So it's quite bizarre for her. She's teaching over 11 time zones almost. So, but yeah, we all have to get used to change, and it's not always a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we must adapt to survive.
Yeah.
Well, we need to finish the 5-word competition there. I think we still got about 6 or 7 people on the list there.
We
Sorry,
do.
Deputy Lord Mayor, we just had our 5-word challenge going there. So we just want to finish that off, and then we'll have our guest poets read.
Okay.
Go for it, Jim.
Sure. So we have a good few more people to do here. So sorry, could someone remind me who I think it was we last had
You can't follow it.
We had Rachel. I think it's
Rachel.
Mags next, am I right?
Oh.
Yes, it's Mags next. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'll just read what's here. Can you hear me? Okay. Thinking of, I think Lucy of Jack Nicholson in terms of endearment, how he upset Mary Tyler Moore so much. You shoehorned yourself into my regular life one night. Beneath the moon of grapefruit that shone through a still iced cocktail, there came a twist of lemon, the scattered light. Acidic citrus pigments filtered, percolated, shot through my gentle palate. The old world order of the regular shifts to an outer orbital of the eldritch. That strange paradigm that was yours and mine. When I hear the moon pig and think of silent seas that lap by craters, tranquil before the surprise of rancor. Sometimes 'tis fine to be obsolete. Sometimes the regular is beautiful and full and spent and calmly winding down. I'm actually, I write about 3 poems, so I just wonder which one I'm finishing on. Sorry, sometimes it's fine to be obsolete. Sometimes the regular is beautiful. A life full and spent, calmly winding down. No dramas, no pigs fly past my portal. I'll sit back and cruise control, and I'll stock. Soon I'll dock, and I'll just leave you to take stock. Shinawil. This poem number, I didn't know which one I was reading. There was a way to finish in one of them, but I couldn't find it.
Thanks, Mags. Next, can we have Catherine?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Lord Mayor, Deputy Lord Mayor. Do you know that what the 5 words were tonight, and that the whole concept of the 5-word challenge is that we random 5 words and you create a poem around them?
Okay, gotcha.
Do you know the words? Do you want to hear the words that were chosen?
Yeah, go for it.
Grapefruit, shoehorn, moon, pig, and eldritch. And then we have 15 minutes to write a poem, including all those words. So my poem is called My Prince. Come here, you hairy grapefruit, my favorite. But no, you don't agree with me, so I can't swallow anymore. I want to shoehorn you into the eldritch kimono designed for me by Paula Yates. Stitch you in ancient scream. But the moon will have to pull for centuries. I stay pig before you, my prince, in muddied delight.
Go on, Catherine.
Thanks, Catherine. It's probably good that you explained it, or he would have been thinking, like, why is everyone writing about pigs?
And moons and grapefruit.
Okay, perfect. Next, next, can we have Cedric, please?
Yes. All right. So I suppose I will add as a French to the to the nationalities coming to the Ovale, though I've been here for quite a while, so I don't know if it still counts at this point. All right, so to the 5-word challenge. She knew she belonged to that bunch, 4-legged and always hiding, making a joy of everything as if they were never concerned. She had prayed her entire life for those 3 to enter it, as if her family had so far failed to shoehorn her into humanity. She would dance under the moon, in the night unholiest hours, yelping and calling for them, maybe. She slept near the pig pen prior to a day with a suitor, hoping it would add a whiff to her fragrance. She would play pranks on the household, mixing tree barks and grapefruit peels in food it did not belong. Nothing worked better than when the 3, her soul brothers, showed up as she spoke in tongues, invoking eldritch forces to come to rescue her from a potential union she deemed unnatural. And the foxes came, all fur and fangs. They played their part, fierce and wild, as if it was their mission, and took her away gloriously, along with everyone's breath. She was really gone, but to this day, the town still speaks of the one who appeared at full moon yelping, Marion the Unwed. That's it.
Thanks very much, Cedric. Good to see you. Next, can we have Benjamin Burns?
Hello. Hi, Ben.
Yay.
NASA HQ. At NASA HQ, a team of scientists shoehorned Peppa's trotters into a pair of space boots and lit the fuse at the end of her tail. At the countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, an enormous flame shot out of her bum as she oinked off into the sky, proving that pigs can fly. Picking up speed, she released an eldritch screech and grapefruit exploded in the trees. Children the world over watched a live stream of Peppa descend to the surface of the moon. One small step became one giant leap as she bounced away over the craters. Peppa Pig, the first of her kind, and no longer a bad role model.
Lovely. Obese and all.
It's very cute. Thanks, Ben. Next, can we have Sue Blue, please?
Wow, how to follow that? Right. The moon hung low in the sky like a grapefruit, and the elders hung heavy with berries black. The day had been burning us, haunting with heat, and the wine rose red to the heads now. And as the moon ascended, the sky grew dark blue, as an eldritch scream flew over the land. In the shadows of the night, something screamed like a pig forced into the abattoir, shoehorned to its fate. The chills run down my swirling spine, consumed by the ghost of the heavy wine and haunted by the grapefruit moon. That's it.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Sue. Okay, I was looking through the chat to see. So next, can we have Francis, please?
Right, so this begins with a definition. Got 2 definitions for the word eldritch. 1, weird, ghostly, uncanny, characterized by the unexplained, a place populated with doppelgangers and ghosts. 2, it's a computer game created by twin brothers David Pittman and J. Kyle Pittman of the newly formed Minor Key Games. Eldritch is a first-paced independent release inspired by roguelites and immersive sims. The graphics are shoddy, the music loud, the goal simple. Get out of the library. The library, of course, holds portals to other worlds. I slide out a book, Charlotte's Web. As I rest the paperback's Moonlight weight in my hands, Animal Farm pops out too. A portal opens, 2 worlds, me bookending both. And I'm sucked into a cut-up where Wilbur and Napoleon are shoehorned into each other's narratives. Napoleon destroys Charlotte's web and gets the farm animals to build an even bigger web, which falls apart. Meanwhile, in Animal Farm, Wilbur, now the size of a grapefruit, becomes Snowball's ally and loyal companion and changes the entire history of the 20th century. And if that isn't Eldritch, then I don't know what is.
Thanks very much, Francis. Next, can we have Jeff, who I think is there beside Rishti? Hey, Jeff, good to see you.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
Great, thanks.
I don't know if I've understood this entire challenge, but I'll give it a shot anyway. Bitterness drove me wild. Like giving a grapefruit for the first time to a small child and watching its smile contort. That was me in a nutshell. Afraid and resistant and ambivalent and torn. Felt like someone was trying to force me into a new life I hated, like a fucked up human shoehorn. I was this moon pig made to do schoolyard tricks and never allowed to let go. Cunningness wasn't my strong point. Life threw challenges at me at different times. I'd fail quickly because my life's plan wasn't mine. There were periods when I felt controlled by a 10-year-old on a PS4. They'd fumble at the buttons and bounce me off the floor, choose me as their character in Skyrim, fuck me into the fire just to watch me burn, left me in this cagey eldritch platform with no logging off. Sometimes I think the past hasn't caught up with me yet. I watch dark clouds hurry to shadow in the world beneath, pray to feel its rain pierce my skin like acid, neutralize my base, pardon me, finally leave me resting, and left me feeling like I'm in a different place. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Jeff. So I think that's all of our challengers. I don't see any more. I think it's all just comments in the chat. So yeah, we have a lot to choose from. And if you want to vote for someone, it's all open to everyone here. I don't think you can vote for yourself though, so don't try that one. If you just put the people you want to vote for in the chat, okay? Maybe like put winner beside it or something.
And just to remind you, Jim, viewers on Facebook can vote as well if they want to just put the name into the Facebook messages.
Okay.
Facebook, comments, underneath the.
Somebody put up their whole one.
Okay.
So many good ones today, like.
It's hard to remember.
Hard one to call.
All right. It's just going to take a few minutes to count these up.
For those of you that joined a little later, the winner will get 2 books. One of them is Nostoc by Dara Breen, and the other then is the 5-word volume 8. So like these sessions over the last year, poems that people have written during these challenges into an anthology. So we'll be posting it out to someone. Very Eurovision. D'espoir.
I think what was it? Oh no, I think that's actually meant to be everyone.
Okay, is that all? Is that all of it?
Everyone voted?
So still coming in. A lot of votes today and on Facebook as well, which is great to see.
I have to count them.
If there's a draw, you have to do another one, another poem.
Yeah, Jim, where
on the spot.
there? Okay, I'm messaging you there, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a podium finish with three people. So in third place, we had D. Allen. In second place, yeah, congratulations. In second place, we had Benjamin Burns. And the overall winner tonight was Cedric Decon.
Yeah, good man, Cedric. Good man, Cedric, as ever.
So Cedric,
always amazing.
You're going to get 2 books out to you. Paul will contact you, and we need to hear the poem again for you to claim the prize.
Yay, I'm so super happy. That's very rare. So
good man, Cedric.
Especially when the veterans are here, usually
really rooting for you.
Almost inexistent. So I'm savoring it now.
No, Mosey was.
Congrats.
Thank you very much. So I will go again. She knew she belonged to that bunch, 4-legged and always hiding, making a joy of everything as if they were never concerned. She had prayed her entire life for those 3 to enter it, as her family had so far failed to shoehorn into humanity. She would dance under the moon, in the night and holiest hour, yelping and calling for them, maybe. Slept near a pig pen prior to a day with a suitor, hoping it would add a whiff to her fragrance. She would play pranks on the household, mixing tree barks and grapefruit peel in foods it did not belong. Nothing worked better than when the 3, her Thor brothers, showed up as she spoke in tongues, invoking eldritch forces to come rescue her for a potential union she deemed unnatural. And the foxes came, all fur and fangs. They played their part, fierce and wild, as if it was their mission, and took her away gloriously, along with everyone's breath. She is really gone, but to this day, the town still speaks of the one who appears at full moon, yelping, Marion the Unwed.
Oh, well done, Cedric.
Well done, Cedric.
Delighted for you.
Well deserved. Okay, so thanks everyone for taking part in the 5-word challenge. We are going to move on to the second part of our evening, our guest poets from Coventry. But before we do that, we have a few little housekeeping announcements and a few little supplementary things. So first of all, the anthology that I referred to a little while ago, Paul is going to put a link for that in the chat. It's available as an ebook this time around. So you'll find the link for that, and you'll find plenty of people in here that are in that book. Now there's a separate 5-word challenge, which takes place over the course of 12 months. Every week there's 5 words uploaded onto the Ovale website, and people are invited to basically make poems out of those 5 words over the span of 7 days, and that's, you've 52 chances to enter it basically, or more if you do it twice a week, if you're really trying to win that. And there's prizes for that. So the first prize would be 750 euros. Second prize would be 500 euros, and third prize is 250 euros. And you'll get publication in the anthology and invitations to read at Ovale in April 2021. Hopefully we won't have lockdown by then. Paul's going to put a little link in the chat for that. So if you're interested in that little competition, you can check that out. And a little sneak peek of what the words are going to be this coming week. So we have salt, dimension, verse, storm, and shadow. Okay. Then we also have the Ovale Poetry Film Competition. That's still open for entries until 31st of August. So you have 21 days to get your poetry film in. And there you can find this on the Ovale website. Paul should again have a little link in the chat for that. And we have an audio archive of each event. The open mic and the guest poets will be recorded. So, if you want to listen to this week, again, later in the week, you can. And there are, you can listen to the past weeks, all the ways back to 10 years. I think the very first Ovale is actually up there. So you can hear years and years of poetry from us. Okay, so from this point forward, an MP3 of the readings will be recorded for that. If you prefer to be excluded from that, please type into the chat, no MP3, and then your name followed by that. And next month's guest poets are Julie Walsh-Bandwaite and Nuala Dowell. And for Culture Night, which will be Friday the 18th of September, so we kind of have 2 Ovales next month. We have guest poets Chandrika Narayana Mohan and Shauna Lee Lynch, who is here tonight beside Benjamin Burns there. She's our current All-Ireland Slam champion. So that's next week. And also, look, we are going to virtually pass around a jar to you. You can make PayPal donations for Ovale to keep it running, and we rely on donations to keep this good and keep the event going. There will be a little link for that too. Now, okay, I think, Paul, just want to check with you now. Are we just going straight on now to the guest poets? Yeah, okay. So the Coventry and Cork Poetry Exchange this year, from Coventry, we have Emilie Lauren Jones and Matt Black, who will be reading with us tonight. Myself and Molly Toomey are the Cork aspect of that. We would be flying over there and they would be flying here if this was if we had different circumstances, but virtually virtual will have to do it for us this time. And Paul will post books to their post links to their books as well during the chat here. Now, I'm just looking for their bios. Hang on, I'm sorry now. I'm going to introduce both of them now properly. I think I can get them quickly on the OVAIL website. Just one moment. So, okay. All right, I'm just going to get them up now. Okay, so first of all, we're going to have Emilie Lauren Jones. Then we'll have Matt Black. So Emilie Lauren Jones has performed at a variety of events and venues across England, from the back room of pubs to century-old castles. Previously published in HCE magazine and I Am Not a Silent Poet, Emilie's poetry is due to appear in upcoming anthologies with Half Moon Books, Beautiful Dragons collaborations, and One World publications, as well as Under the Radar magazine. So lots of great stuff going on for Emilie. In 2019, Emilie was one of the commissioned poets for the UK City of Culture project Humans of Cov, as in Coventry. She was the 2019 PGR Slam winner, Stafford Word Slam winner, and a Gorilla Slam finalist. Emilie has an MA in creative writing from the University of Birmingham. She is a poet in residence for Hills FM and part of the 2020 cohort for the Nine Arches Press Dynamo scheme. Emilie has a website, www.emilielaurenjones.co.uk. That's Emilie with an IE. And she's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with Emilie Lauren XXX. So can we have a big warm welcome, please, for Emilie?
Egg cracks, tubular body squirms, microscopic fangs first, she drags her temporary form through the dirt, then, suckling on decay, prepares for fossilizing. Her flourishing will be welcomed like brown blossom in a world of candy floss lovers. This is no Anderson fairy tale transformation. This is maggot to blue bottle. They'll never call her beautiful, but she'll have eyes like flashing lava and armor the color of peacock feathers. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really very excited to be here. I would have loved to have been with you in person, especially because I've never been to Ireland and it looks beautiful. But also particularly in Cork, I hear the food's amazing and I love food. So hopefully in the future I'll be able to come and see you. So I like in my poetry, like questioning things that we take for granted as society, saying that's normal. So you'll probably find that going a lot. This is called Sex Tips, or the mating of leopard slugs. If you don't know what a leopard slug is, there's a great video on YouTube that the BBC put out. Forget Google or the swinging saloon doors of Amsterdam. For real sex tips, venture into the woods. You must do this at night after slipping into a heavily fleeced coat. Pack a small torch and either a flask of milky tea or 2 miniature gins. Do not take salt. Once you arrive, search among the dense foliage of the woodland floor. Lift your hand, let your lips curl in mild revulsion as you note the iridescent mucus embracing your fingertips. Follow this slimy path until you reach a thick-limbed branch. Beneath that branch are 2 squelching, circling forms. Their leopard print slug tongues dressing each other in moist praise. You'll notice their ash marbled backs shimmering under the dull light of your torch. 2 more hours will pass before these nocturnal dancers slide upwards. Watch as saturated in pleasure they descend, acrobats twirling on a ribbon of joint secretion. Celeste phalluses will emerge from each head, stretching the full length of their sculpture. Marvel at this coiled, pirouetting mass, the exploratory entwining of hot blue. Witness the squelching spread of mucus petals into a globular crescendo. Finally, see their slow, slithering retreat, their shrinking, collapsing bodies separating. Go home. Dispose of Cosmopolitan magazine. Before going into, thank you, because I can't hear you, I'm not even in the room to clap, but I thank you. before going into sort of poetry and arts as a more permanent thing, I used to teach, and it was very frustrating. The most frustrating thing is not teaching what you think is important, but teaching what you're told is important. This is progress report. In the first term, I taught you to kill sunflowers. We named the survivors anomalies, then passed round the bin bag. Percentages were skipped because they're only worth 1 mark, but we doubled up on fronted adverbials and paradigms, which impressed the visiting author because she'd never heard of them. The head treated us to the new cut and paste Oxford dictionaries because it meant you could spell celebrity without having to ask me, and it saved discussing the differences between magpies and ravens when you just call them birds anyway. In the spring, I was meant to teach den building, but because it was spitting, we settled for using unsharpened pencils to scratch out our designs onto one dead tree of A4 each. After finishing early, I asked you to write a recount of your favourite parts of the year so far. In the whole class example, I began with the sunflowers, but the only adjectives you could suggest were nanoscopic and dilapidated. When I rolled my eyes and turned to Google Images, you gasped at the warmness of their petals, the cuddling seeds. You all agreed that if you ever saw one in real life, you'd probably say they were quite beautiful. And I've got obviously the standard COVID poem now. I've got one for tomorrow, so if you're there's a different one. You know, we've all got to have a COVID poem. This is called Does Spaghetti Really Have an Expiry Date? And it was based on my true experience of COVID. Day 17. I start in the kitchen, take out every dented tin and sunflower patterned plate. I ask Google if Safeway spaghetti really has an expiry date. One cupboard contains metallic blue touch-up from 2 cars ago, 8 pesetas and a disc for installing Windows XP. That night I removed tin peas from my shopping list and cooked spag bowl for dinner. I don't know why, but neither of us had stomachache, so Google must have been right about the pasta. Day 18. Placing 10 tubs on the breakfast table. I remember Nan bringing them home, her hands smoothing sticky labels onto their lids, using her best biro and capital letters to write earrings, hair clips, nail varnish. I recall her lining them up on my dressing table, pointing the pen tip my way and saying, and don't you let it get into that state again. I offer an apologetic shrug to the urn on the bookshelf. The first box, nail polish, is a home-based colour chart of early noughties Barbie pinks and glow stick greens. On opening, the contents cling to hardened bristles and glob on my fingertips like marmalade. This time I don't need Google. The next few hours are spent gently tipping polish remover into every pot of gloop in an attempt to resuscitate them. That night I paint each toenail a different colour. I don't understand why remover resurrects polish, but I do know that Nans have many useful tips. Day 19. I take 2 buckets of warm bubbles to the bathroom. The window sill has long been a museum of discarded bottle lids and fossilized soap stains. I turn the tap on, cold water fizzes into the tub. At some point, I notice the black speck of a fly floating towards the far end. With my palm flat, I scoop it out. Spread its sodden wings apart with my fingernails and blow. Again, willing life back into its little lungs until one leg twitches. I finally breathe out, not knowing why it's so important, just knowing that it is. I like strange little facts, so this is based on one of those and fits in nicely with our space conversation from earlier. If our nearest star takes 6 minutes to send solar flare fingers to Earth, the sun could be dead and we'd still have time to boil eggs before noticing. That 6 minutes above us, our ovoid life source had shattered, flame shards scattering across milky black abyss, while we teaspoon gritty splinters off rubbery white spheres. This one's based on a true story. Well, the first bit is, and then obviously, you know, poetic license. I went to a gym and, you know, which I don't do regularly, but I went and did the gym bit and then I went what I'd actually gone for, which was the cake and hot chocolate at the cafe afterwards, because that's what you do, isn't it? I think, unless I'm wrong. Anyway, there was a woman who came in the queue before me. Like I was stood there and she butted in, which really irritated me because I hate rudeness, but also hate confrontation. So I just sort of tutted. And then she turned around and I will probably never get over this. She went, "I think I should go first, don't you?" And I let her go first, but I did think, you're going to be in a poem, and here is that poem. So I don't know who she is, but this is for her. "I think I should go first, don't you? I'd been considering which overpriced oatcake to choose as you slipped into the half space in front of me. My stuttering reply dies as you repeat, 'I think I should go first.' I nod. You should go first. You should go first because you pay a monthly direct debit to this gym instead of using a free guest pass you picked up in the community centre raffle. You should go first because the woman serving has smiled at you from across this counter for over 2 years and her daughter looks a little bit like your daughter. You should go first because you are branded with designer sweatbands and own a keyless car that you remember to vacuum before it looks like it needs it. You should go first because when you call your dog's name in the park, he comes back to you instead of digging up the kids' play area. You should go first because you know they're called gilets, not body warmers. You can spell pretentious without having to Google it and can bake banana bread without looking up the recipe. You should go first because you got married on a sunny day with a brass band and honeymooned in Cape Verde instead of mistaking it for a type of pasta at a pub quiz. You should go first because you remembered to wear a blue dress on polling day and you've never got changed in a train toilet or come home looking like that girl off the drink aware advert. You should go first because you have lavender liners in your underwear drawer and your nasal passages recognise the scent of Dior but have yet to experience Oxfam's washing powder. You should go first because shops sell keyrings with your name on them and people pronounce it without assistance and the man at Starbucks writes it correctly on the cup. You should go first because you know Manet did portraits and Monet did flowers. You know which knife to use first at dinner parties and that people who get stopped by police must deserve it. You should go first because you had skiing lessons when you were 6 and ever since you've known that life's a bespoke slide for you to traverse. You should go first because when the others in this queue look between me and you, they already know all of these things. They know who goes first. Oh, thanks for the nice comments. I'm just seeing them popping up in the chat there. I also love bird spotting, you know, which you don't tend to talk about too much because you get like plonked in with train spotters and you know, other people. But I do, and so this poem is about a bird, but also not. Winter plumage. Soon the female turnstone's plumage will be tree trunk brown. A green anorak man mimics the quit, quit, quit of her call, wiggles his fingers to tempt her. She doesn't go. Another feather falls. Seawater sticks it to a nearby pebble. Her probing bill continues spearing the space between stones, scooping mollusks from their mantles. Her bill snaps shut around the sleeping seaweed's throat. When food gets sparse, she'll leave these splintered shell segments in favour of chip wrapper innards. Once she feasted on the cove-trapped corpse of a fisherman. Bloated fingers twitched as she picked at the tendons. The green anorak man mimics her call, quit, quit, quit. He hears wrong. A gargling laugh rattles around the inside of her throat. Another white feather frees itself. Flying towards the sun, she screeches after it, up, up, up. Another favourite thing is Alice in Wonderland, and I think a lot of poets can get on board with that one because we have interesting minds. Our minds are fun, strange places, and I guess that's why we kind of relate to it. So I take Alice's and just make them different sort of females, and so this is one of my Alice's. This is called Out of Luck Alice. And I'm going to dedicate this to 2 people who are giving me thumbs up, Anne and Tracy, because they always say that's my favourite. Out of Luck Alice. Caterpillar was on his second cigar. Alice, down to her last fiver, watched hazy mists around her, cloud her from underpaid rent and overpaid men. Smoke swirled, turning into points around stilettos the adverts told her to wear. Caterpillar motioned her over with 12 of his arms, offered her a pint in exchange for a picture. Well, thought Alice, it's only a picture. And maybe you think it's only a drink, but if you ignore your prejudice against Alices who rely on juices and half-smoked spliffs to assist in the fight against two small homes with windows that don't close, concrete gardens set on the margins of a society that's run by blue ties and the BBC, who only ever feature where you live in when there's been a stabbing, then maybe you'll start to see where Alice is going. Caterpillar had 100 hands, asked if he could put just 3 on her lap in exchange for a full pack of fags and £10. Well, thought Alice, it's only a few hands out of a whole caterpillar of arms. And maybe you think it's only fags and a tenner, but if you've never lived with a fridge that's in the red and a bed that's a mattress on the floor with your last blood-spotted note rolled into the fetal position in your purse, then Caterpillar educated Alice about 5-bedroom yachts and where's best to stay in Vegas and how it's advisable to take lessons before taking to ski slopes. And would she mind coming back to his to lie naked on lettuce, blow smoke rings while he cocoons her in exchange for shoes better than those, a working credit card, weekend away? Well, thought Alice, it's only me. And maybe you think, but you don't, do you? Because you don't like thinking about Alice. Cheers. The last couple that I've got are set in Coventry. I always accidentally end up writing about the Midlands, that or Wales, which is basically where you go on holiday if you're from the Midlands. I come from, on the Coventry side of my family, and I say that like there's an exotic side of the family, the other side is from Birmingham, but the Coventry side of the family, I come from a long line of people who worked in factories. My granddad was a draftsman for Massey Ferguson's, and so that's sort of the background behind this poem, really, because as you may well be aware, we had this big industry in Coventry of machinery, and that's gone now. We were the parts that designed the parts that made the parts. Our 2B pencils joined screws and chains and levers, turned rods and cogs that birthed tractors. Tractors as red and British as postboxes or as grey as the smoke from our pipes. TE20, 35X, 290, 830 till 430. We worked in parts of inches, then parts of millimeters. We were the base units of the agricultural world and could trace our family trees through Roots and Daimler. We're born from humbers and singers, and we still whistled and sang after emergency meetings in cold community centres where drafts of a new build estate the size of a factory were displayed to us. We were the parts that watched the parts being blown apart. Our 2B pencils stowed behind our ears as they inserted the dynamite under the old office tower. Only then did we realise our castles were as delicate as paper, that we could be ripped from drawing boards and discarded. Thank you. This is my last one. I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm going to claim this as my first international gig, even though I'm in my bedroom, because, like video version of me has now been to Ireland, which is great. That's really exciting. It's not quite what we envisaged, but I did, and I'm so sorry because this is probably a really awful thing to do, but I did, in honor of you guys, have a Guinness, but I had to get it out of a can and pour it into a glass because that's all that was available at the local shop. So one day I hope I'm going to get to try a real one over with you. Until then, I'd like to thank both the Coventry and the Cork organisers of this. It really is a pleasure to be part of. You've been lovely. Thank you so much for your kind comments and the nice facial expressions and clapping. And this features sort of more of that Coventry self-deprecating humour, but this also links nicely to your lovely country, because one of the things you have gifted us is the place where my brother works, which is Boyle Sports. He's the manager and he runs the Boyle. He definitely doesn't own it. He runs the Boyle Sports in the centre of Coventry, and it's fabulous. It's like a social club as much as somewhere where we can place bets. So I wrote this sat in the bookies for a whole afternoon, because I do quite often just go in and just pop in and say hello to everyone, because it's like a club of people. So I'll finish on this one. The walls are papered with today's fixtures, corners curling towards the King Kong-sized Ryan Giggs spread across 4 TV screens. He's silently analysing a match that no one watched. Mac shakes his head. Never trust a man who takes his brother's wife to bed, he says. A flat cap holds Big Mike's spot as he fills another cup with instant caffeine. A walking cane and cold curry takeaway wait by the door. We almost forget how it feels to be lonely. Beardy Chris wears his new blue shirt that states he's proud to serve. The message hasn't made it to his face, but we love him anyway, because he gives free credits and hates John Terry. Tony shows off new trainers. There's a hum of appreciation when she says they cost less than a tenner. She wiggles them at the windows, admires their shiny, smooth reflection in the new glass, and we almost forget there were ever bullet holes. Paper snowballs of old dreams litter the floor. We keep feeding our notes into this backstreet Las Vegas. Pirate roulette is soon due a payout, and when it does, we'll almost forget how it feels to lose. Until then, Bingo 1.6 assigns amounts that no one wins to numbers no one's picked, but we still play because we know better than most that life is a lottery, and he's running at Limerick in the 8:53. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Good night.
Thanks so much, Emilie. The chat room, you can see everyone, it's popping off now. Everyone has so many nice things to say. And I think all of us enjoy that a lot. Like, it's really, really good. Thank you. So we're going to go on to our next guest, who is Matt Black. And I'm just going to introduce him to you now. Matt's here with us from Coventry as well. So Matt Black lives in Leamington Spa and writes for adults and children. A specialist in commissions, he is a joyful mischief maker, a serious entertainer, a reluctant grown-up, and a celebrationist. He was Derbyshire Poet Laureate from 2011 to 2013. His poems are published in magazines, and his most recent collections for adults are Tales from the Leaking Boot, Iron Press, 2018, and Spoon Rebellion with Smith Doorstop, 2017. His play The Storm Officer toured in 2020, and his next publication is Sniffing Lampposts by Moonlight. Upside Down is a publisher, and that's this year, 2020, which features poems inspired by dogs based on his one-man show, The Snoopy Question. So can we have a huge warm welcome to Matt, please, Matt Black.
Hiya. I'm presuming the technology is all working fine. I'm not getting all the videos through, but yes, if Avail, if you could just give me a thumbs down if at any point something goes wrong. Lovely to be here, and brilliant night. I came a complete cropper on the 5-word poem. I sort of tried to write a nonsense breakfast involving grapefruit, and it just went, you know how occasionally it does. But I'm going to read different kinds of poems. I thought 5 or 6 different kinds of poems because I like writing different kinds of poems. I'm going to start off with some haiku. Most of you will know haiku are Japanese poems, very often quite reflective, 17 syllables, and very often involving cherry blossom and the moon, and they're beautiful, but I did get frustrated with them after a point. And I ended up coming across some overheard conversation haiku, which revived my interest in haiku. I was just sitting down listening to some people chatting, and I thought, oh, that's quite a nifty little haiku. And so after that point, I started collecting these, and I collected them for 5 or 6 years, and I've got 6 altogether. So I thought I'd read them out. The first one was overheard outside the hairdressers. It's so red, isn't it? I only went for highlights. Well, what can you do? That's that one. Second one was overheard in Waitrose. I'm thinking of doing a series of different supermarket haikus. Charles, you've had your treat. Put that falafel down. You chose olives with manchego. Third one was a found haiku, and it was on one of those job advertisement postcards on the Australian-themed Walkabout bar in Barnsley in the north of England. And the postcard just read, Walkabout bar seeks part-time evening bar staff, no Muppets or princesses, which I suspect is discriminationist to Muppets and princesses, but they do have a hard time. So next one, overheard in an independent cinema in Sheffield, a couple in the row just behind me. He leans over and says to her, "What's all this then, love? Subtitles? I didn't come here to bloody well read." 2 more. Next one was another found haiku, which was a poster on the gate of the Holy Trinity Church in Stratford. Looking for Jesus, Shakespeare, or Pokemon, they are all in here. Which I think is good marketing by the Church of England. And the last one was the very first one that I heard, and I overheard it in a cafe, 2 people sitting at the table just about 3 feet away from me. And one of them looked at the other and she said, "Mini market's gone. I don't know why we came back from Australia." Didn't have to write it. That's one of the great things. Just pick them up. They're all over the place. This next poem is a poem that I wrote after listening to a radio program which was describing how Lidl supermarket, like other supermarkets, stock various products in order to attract a range of people into the supermarket. So they were describing how basically they deliberately stock nice wines in order that they can get middle-class shoppers into the supermarket. It's called Let's Not Talk About Class. Let's not talk about class. Now we've got Lidl, the shop with victuals for lower, middle, upper. Cheap beans for those with means, Spanish wines on offer for the meal. He calls tea, she calls supper, they call dinner. Let's not talk about class now. Mariana goes to Argos, Adrian to Happy Shopper, in every bar, Prosecco. Every little helps, everyone at Tesco, ever since Thatcher when the mines went dark. Class has been forgotten unless you're at the bottom. Now something is rotten in the state of Primark. Let's not talk about class. It's a confused situation since all that education in the 60s to noughties ball. 3 degrees for all in all. You're just another, just another, just another. Want a nice life in the wall. Let's not talk about class. Now we think we're all connected. One world, one web, no one is rejected. Let's not talk about class because we're British and reserved. Dreadfully sorry, but the idea is absurd. Let's not talk about class, status, or permission to remain. Did you come by boat or truck or underneath a train? Let's not talk about class or the Brexit shout from those with nout, but cross enough to put across to say we want out. Let's talk about this farce as the gap grows wider between Champagne Charlie, loud and confident, chins of entitlement, to Simon, who drinks cheap cider. Tuition fees, so no degree, found a job age 22, firm went bust, some silly fuss about the EU, 0 hours to 0 job, to no coffees in Cafe Nero, 10 days later, homeless, working class, no hero. On the street, cold with fright, at night just takes his shoes off, snuggles onto cardboard, dreams of grand designs and bake-off. So if you've moral dilemmas, giving dosh to beggars and past Simon in Tesco's doorway, keep your fingers crossed that his loss isn't shortly coming your way. And the next time you're a little, as you wheel past meals in crazy deals down the middle aisles, just thank your stars and smile. Here's the town, here's the steeple, here's the people, people, people. And thank you. Next poem is a poem from the new book, which is called Sniffing, Lamppost by Moonlight. It's a book which I got carried away and started to write one poem about a dog about 3 years ago, and I've ended up with a whole book of poems about dogs. And this is a poem which is on behalf of a pug. I started to do a bit of research into pugs, and obviously they've been bred for their looks, but at expense of their health. Here is a fine pug, just to remind you of how a pug's face looks. I've never quite understood why people find them so attractive, but this is called Pug. All over Europe, I was top dog one time, all charm and big eyes, cute but hench, little tail curled on me back. I knew what to do, play with the kids, follow them like a shadow. Made a name for myself, I mean, only ended up in bed with Napoleon's trouble and strife. Look at this lot, shays bloody long, all posh bling, ain't it? Feel the pile on that. But as my consultant says, Pug, you better write your memoirs now, my boy, while you can, because I'm afraid your bone house is right up the Khyber, and your breathing's truly knackered, what with your pinched nostrils and elongated palate. Best not to Google what Doc tells you, I say, but in the search I couldn't resist it. Pharyngeal gag reflex. Would you, Adam and Eve? No wonder I've been bloody gasping and snorting, but I've had fun. I had me heydays, fed best meat and rice I was, given rank and status, me own palace and servants in China, only painted by Hogarth and Goya. This is what happens when posh gits take you in. Feed you up, squash you in, make you even cuter, messed up me boat race no end. In fact, me whole bloody health went down the Mississippi, wheezing, skin fold dermatitis, hip dysplasia, demodectic mange. I've Googled them all, not pretty. And the last straw, the left mince pie keeps bloody popping out. It's all in my memoirs. You look out for it. This mug will be on the front cover. And I've got the title now, Big Eyes and Breathless. Thank you. The poems about dogs were written and then I turned them into a show. So I thought and the show has various different kinds of poems in. And I thought I'd do a very short sort of punk poem that I wrote for the show, and it comes at a point in the show where I've decided that I've sort of possibly turned into a dog, and I start to write campaign poems on behalf of dogs, and this poem is called Puppy Riot. It's got a bit of joining in. When I do this bit, you might want to all unmute and go rah, 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 rah. We'll get to that bit in a bit. or don't unmute. I don't know whether we can unmute all at the same time or how you want to do that, Ovel, but we'll see what happens. Just do it in the privacy of your own sitting room. I think that's the best way. So I go around the charity shops, buy myself a balaclava and take to impromptu performances on the streets of Leamington Spa. Pet dogs are the bourgeoisie, household gods of security. We're modern dogs, can't you see? You took us in, you took control. Now we're used to the home pets role, professional pets, don't you know? We shared the road of evolution, thought it was a mutual solution. Nutrition, love nutrition. Now it's puppy farms everywhere. Almost citizens, is that fair? You throw us sticks, but do you care? We've had enough of keeping quiet. Puppy riot, puppy riot. Time for dogs to find their way. Okay, joining in. Time for dogs to find their way. We share dominion like a crown. You chase the strays out of town. You put us up, you put us down. If we've got breeding, we're okay. Lucky ones get the DNA. Always the way, always the way. We've had enough of keeping quiet. Puppy riot, puppy riot. Time for dogs to find their way. Joining in. Brilliant. Nice. Very good barking. So this next poem is a complete change of tone, and I wasn't going to read this poem, but I thought I would from Emilie's wonderful poem from her teaching experience. And it's a poem that I wrote. I go into school sometimes, and I noticed that increasingly in the corridors and on the walls, there was the language of the curriculum being put up so that students understood what it was that they were trying to attain. And obviously the language of the curriculum is quite complicated and it's quite obscure. And in theory, it's meant to be so that pupils can set their own targets. What an exciting thing to do. And I was getting increasingly cross about this. And then I went into a school one day, and on the whiteboard was an instruction for a group of 10-year-olds, year fives in this country. And the instruction was, write an account of your half-term holiday using complex sentences. No, please don't. Write in simple flames the joy or horror or the boredom of it. It was yours. Now is the time to stop listening when people tell you what to do. Write any length sentences you want. Write strong and true. Don't dismiss the sentimental. Try telling it, not showing it. Use short words with strong vowel sounds like mud and stuck. Don't go on half-term holidays if you might have to write about them. Distrust words like education, education, education. Treat all adults with a healthy dose of suspicion. Trust love, distrust love. Keep chewing gum in your hair. Remember, some teachers are not human. Write about having fun. Grab whatever weapons you can lay your hands on. Be wary of talk until things actually happen. Only believe what you can feel. Enjoy sherbet lemons. Experiment with the heartfelt. Be heartfelt with the experimental. Eat ice cream before it melts. Don't be too gentle. Kick off. Remember, the pen is less painful than the scalpel. Question everything you are told. Take from old people what you can. Have fun before the rent gets your cash card. Don't listen to poems that tell you what to do. Watch the sun rise, drink ginger beer. Stay positive until the aliens get you. Thank you. And I'm just going to do 2 more poems. And this next poem is a poem which is a celebration of all things written word. And if anybody's got a biro, they might want to use the biro during the poem. So pick up your biros or your pencils. I love the biro, invented by Laszlo Biro over 75 years ago. There are more biros in our computers, and that gives me great hope. And approximately 4 billion biros are sold every year. So if you're cross about the news and you want to light a fuse, go biro. If you're young and feeling tender, if you're old and it's December, go biro. You're picking it up. If you want to write a revenge sonnet on your ex-boyfriend's car bonnet, go biro. If you've got people trying to destroy you, or you're just feeling paranoia, go biro. If you want to write a novel, it's no good with a shovel, go biro. If you want to feel the power between your fingers, hold this blue flower. If you want to be funny, sad, or deep, and you want an art that's really, really cheap, go biro. If you want a bag or a pocket to contain a tiny, joyous rocket, go biro. I love the biro. Anybody love the biro? Who loves the biro?
No, I do.
Cheapest business in town. I'm going to finish off with this poem, which came to my mind because over the last few weeks, I've had numerous occasions where I've been seeing friends, family at distance in gardens and, you know, in the right places. And we all do this thing where we like do a sort of virtual hug from 6 feet away. Anybody been doing that? Your hands up, and I think we're all missing hugs. And so this poem was actually written a while back, and it was written from an article in the newspaper, and I think it was called Challington Community College in Cornwall, where the headmaster was worried because pupils were delayed in getting to lessons because they were spending too much time hugging. And he came out with one of those classic sort of head teacher, slightly wishy-washy statements. He said, we don't want to penalise people who are hugging. We don't want to forbid hugging. We just want to avoid any unnecessary hugging. So at the end of this poem, if we maybe could all just have a quick virtual hug, I think that'd be really nice, because it feels to me like that's what these Zoom things are about largely, is us being able to just see each other and have a moment of closeness. So this is called, this poem is sort of imagination of a hugging college where people are taught different ways of hugging. The Hugging College. Our motto, hugging is less unsightly than wind farms as a source of renewable energy. Our mentors will tailor an individual hugging program for you based on your previous hugging experience and family background. 2 popular classes. 1, the long, soft hug with smiling face over shoulder. 2, the well-meant but quick pat on the back hug for those with a more position. We run special modules for men which include an almost invisible hug using 2 little fingers, Peace hugs and hugs against war are well-established classes. Mohair hugs, dungaree hugs, yes, a bit last millennium, but the courses are still running at our centre in Hebden Bridge. If you want a taster, why not try the party class, the drug hug, the just gotta give you a hug. Our full weekend courses with tears can help you soften those family hugs, exorcising the muscle tensions derived from years of sibling cruelties and jealousies. You want references, I hear. Blair and Bush trained with us in the public pragmatic hug and their specialism, the United Front. Our advanced courses include the sumo hug, the bitchy hug, instances of a shoulder, the ex-lover hug, accompanied by flashbacks of candles or knives. We are currently working in partnership, developing a hugging program with the Home Office for habitual offenders, Hug-a-Thug. Our research shows hermits will find hugs in dreams, footballers will run forever to earn the next leap in the air and cuddle, and children will hug silence when they have no one else. Anybody going to hug? Shall we have a hug? Let's have a hug. It's been lovely to be here. I don't know how long it takes to get back from Cork to Coventry tonight, but it's been lovely. Thank you.
Thanks a million, Matt. That was really enjoyable, and I saw a lot of happy faces in the Zoom meeting. So really good. I think a lot of us haven't held pens or hugged people in a very long time. So it's really good. Thank you. So we're moving on to the last part of the night now, which is Emilie and Matt will also be reading tomorrow night at DeBarra's Spoken Word, which is usually out in West Cork somewhere, but they are going to be online tomorrow, and there's a little link there for Spoken Rod. It's kind of cleverly put there. Clonakilty, it usually is. That's it. So if you want to get some more of their poetry tomorrow night, you can get that. Okay, so the last part of the night now is the open mic. So I guess just get your names into the chat, and we can start hearing some more poetry from everyone here. Okay, we've got names flying in. So we'll get started because we're going over. So the first person to get their name on the list there is Massimo. Can we hear from Massimo, please?
Hello. Hey, can you hear me okay?
Perfect, yeah.
Wonderful. My name is Massimo, and I'm coming from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is in America. So thanks for having me. And I guess I'll just go ahead with the poetry. And thanks to the two readers. I really enjoyed the poetry a lot. And this is my first international event. So this is, I think, a really beautiful thing that you guys are facilitating. So thank you. All right. Speak strongly, but speak softly. Speak softly, but speak strongly. I know what it's like to speak wrongly, feeling like webs I have woven have caught me. Unconsciously weaving and threading, while consciously turning the webs into netting. Climb, but I rise without stressing, because I am not going, but coming from heaven. They say that an angel is winged, and born to begin with, all mortals are wicked. But my angels are mortals I stick with, the people I love who loved me when I didn't. Yeah, I'm a mess, but my mess is my message. my beautifully stained ceremonial vestige. The book of my life may be worn at the edges, but I love my story much more than your legends. Some of my blessings were presents while other ones came by great efforts and measurements. But even my gifts are just testaments. With no gifts left, all I give is my presence. A body of flesh, I am fragile. An earth made of fire and stone, still I travel. A water, air, spirit, I bubble and babble. My life so impossible, it's almost laughable. My heart may be small, but it's heavy. Tight as the ball of a fist, but holds plenty. My heart may be hard, but beats gently. It knows that it hurts when I love, but still lets me. My heart may be dark, but not empty. May be open, but still say no entry. My heart may love yours, but don't tempt me. 'Cause for any heart song, the heartbeat must be steady. 'Cause I know the feeling of failing, skating on ice when my steps send me sailing. But why wait till I'm aging and ailing to let go my pride and hold on to the railing? There's no shame in having a harness, assuming your head won't be saved by its hardness. All errors are fairer in margins. Your wisdom is nothing to fear, my dear darlings. But the heart has its reasons, that reason knows not nor believes in. And the heart has its secrets, that trying to keep in, we just end up leaking. So I speak my heart unashamed. Judge me with scales, but your heart weighs the same. Through all of my trials, a ruling that came is that true love is not fear in love's name. Thank y'all. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Massimo.
Yeah, thank you.
It's great to have you. I just see the names of flying in here. So just so we can fit everybody in, can we keep like introductions, not that you were long, Massimo, but can we keep introductions like 1.5% and then poetry 99%, whatever, just to kind of get everyone through. All right. Okay, so next, can we have Breda Spate, please?
Hi everyone, and what a great evening's poetry already with Matt and Emily. So okay, I have two poems, and both the background to them would be the pandemic. So without any introduction then, the first poem, the title is We'll Always Have Paris. All evening, we strolled through the Christmas streets of Paris, lined with bistros and elegantly dressed mannequins in shop windows. Our arms linked like loops in a chain. A lifetime since we walked side by side on a night street. We ate onion soup, its aftertaste of cognac. Horse chestnut trees on the Champs-Élysées were draped in white lights as though veined with spring. Later, we're surprised to find ourselves here again. Your thighs, my arched back, the loyalty of the body, the scar along the length of your breastbone, neat as a zip that keeps your heart safe. A scene of pure calm, luminous as pearly light after a storm. Now we sit across from each other in an ICU waiting room. I examine the blue disposable gloves on my hands while you glare at a point above my head. Sip vending machine coffee from a paper cup. Grey tubes trail from our daughter's mouth as she lies on her front, arms by her sides and palms facing up. We come and go, the streets deserted as though the world has abandoned us. Crows strut around empty litter bins. Our bodies prop each other as we nod off towards dawn. We wash stale sleep from our mouths with bottled water before meeting the consultant. Masks, face shields, the distance. And the second poem, the title is...
Sorry, we're only going to have time for one poem tonight, I'm afraid,
Oh,
because we
okay.
have to fit everyone out. But thanks so much for reading.
Yeah, no bother. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks for understanding. So next we have, 2 seconds, just scrolling back up now. So after read it, we have Pam Campbell, please.
This is breath. I hang back at the door like a shop-fearing child. Kind women beckon, warm blanket in hand, and encourage me to the treatment table. Truth, I thought the second time would be easier. But now I know the after fire, this soundless, invisible beam carves in my breast. It secures my life, I'm told. Arms stretch overhead and fasten in place. Hips adjust right and then left. My fingertips reach out and comfort each other. Tattooed and blue-marked body line up with exact precision to the machine's projected red ones. I am deemed ready. Truth, I am not ready. I whisper apologies to my breast. Through the drum of heartbeat in my ears, I hear, when you are ready, take a breath and hold it. Where are my carefully practiced imaginings? Where are mountain and sky? Where are hummingbird and blue jay? Tears trail, filling my ears. Truth, tears voice sadness and anger, opens heart and cleanses soul. Take a breath and hold it. Breath is life. I close my eyes and drift down Little River, the dipping of friends' paddles, a rhythmic cradling. Hummingbird flies from her tiny nest and covers my nakedness. Blue jay sings his whisper song and I sing with him. I empty my lungs and breathe in strong and steady and hold fast to the liquid drop of paddles in Little River. Truth, I am not alone. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Pam. So next, I'm not sure if I'm going to get your surname right, but Francis Gollum.
Yep, that's how you pronounce it. This is a diss track written from the point of view of an alabaster bust, which I bear an uncanny resemblance to, using the Mohs hardness scale. When I were granite, I gobbled grain like a gannet, but now I'm alabaster millstone. I'm wheat and you're chaff. You've all the class and gravitas of a gravel drive. You do languish in the garden centre, stranded amidst the water features. Your own albatross, milestone to my progress because I'm alabaster. I'm alabaster. When I was sand, I too built castles the seas moat, and believe me when I say I don't like to gloat, but the tide turned and I am returned. Alabaster. No, you are the panickety picnicker's worst nightmare. You are the shameful reminding itch of the lover's gritty amorous sandwich. Oh, you do chortle in your glass girdle as you put eggs to yolk. Emery board does finer work, sandblaster for you. Scour graffiti from the walls of council estates, whilst I greet visitors ensconced in the names of noble estates. Because I'm alabaster. I'm alabaster. But I'm not too good for you. You see, when I was slate, I could with the best, but now I'm alabaster, you two. We both get dug up, but my display case gets more footfall because I'm the belle of the museum ball, from antique Greece to ancient Rome, neoclassical exhibitions ensconced within gentry walls. No stone is so deified as me. Except, arguably, for that marvellous wannabe lap dancer of the Louvre. Now, let me tell you something. When I were an aspirational plinth hopper, I were forced to kiss the bare soles of illegitimate pilgrims' feet. Now I gaze from cathedral's vaulted peak at those poor bastards' balding plates and your stripy flooring. Where is your Michelangelo now? Kitchen work surface. And although I have no hands and therefore no might to smite back at those who may cause me contusions and so be placed above me on the Mohs hardness scale of mineral hardness, that hierarchy you surely understand as wholly specious. Merely a man-made means of identification through discrimination, because I'm as hard as nails, mate. I'll work my way up through metamorphic force majeure and damned good looks. And you can call it Deus Ex Machina or strategy applied. One cannot deny that I have arrived. Although it is all for naught, isn't it, in the final analysis, for aren't we all destined to be one part of that final post-apocalyptic recombobulated cosmic molten goop? And yet, I reached the apogee, and you were pulp. And this is the way the bourgeoisie go: establish the limits, set up the goals, so the house always wins. Didn't make the rules, just cashed in. There you go.
Thanks very much, Francis. That was great camera work. Okay, next, can we have Sri Sen?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sri. I'm from Mumbai, but studying in Dublin right now. And this poem has been published in Poetry Island Review. This issue number 131. It's titled Semantics. Leaving my hometown, I was told I would be a second-class citizen in a first world country, as if being a brown girl in a brown country was any different, as if I wasn't scared all the time, my character attached to my neckline, as if I wasn't familiar with violence at home, on streets, inside my head, groped on the staircase by arthritic fingers of friend's grandfather, who walked us every morning to the stop for our school bus. My father had left, mother catatonic, my breasts were starting to show, holding out my elbows in crowded places to deter horny men with hard palms trying to grab me, practiced speed fondling of breasts locked tight enough to squeeze the breath from my shamefully ample chest, bulging waists grinding against me in crowded trains, buses, metro, my gender in the wrong place. General compartment is for brown men, designated metal boxes are for brown women. In my homeland, pale skin is entitled to bikinis and neon bras. Femur of burnt clay, uncovered, is an invitation in courts of gossip and Panchayati Raj. I miss the flames of Krishnachura, setting ablaze my window in a home not my own. Here, cherry blossoms are clouds trapped by branches dreaming of the sky, hard lines of guilt softening. I'm free to chop off my hair, grown long for men in a territory of humid scalps. Sometimes I still cower. Brown country is for brown men and a visa for me. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sri. So next we have Augustina.
Oh, just have to catch my breath there. Well done, Sri. That was really powerful. Okay, so some people claim to want an independent appearing person, but then it is a pain when the person is busy being independent and hustling. Complain when they do not have time to be a slave to communication and pander to their every needs and plant seeds of doubt and suspicion into a garden that could be fertile with a little bit of patience. They will be the first to make you explain your movements and show a bad attitude instead of showing patience and awareness that busy spells are not always permanent. Sometimes they are temporary. To pay one's bills in a legitimate way, a person must work. A working person will sometimes have days where they are swamped with targets and work. And even when they are not working, they might just want some time for themselves and not have to lurk around. Sometimes they might just not be a butterfly, a social butterfly person or a long calls type of person, but that always seems to worsen things, you know, when there are demands. The last thing they want is to open their phone to essays and accusations and have to justify themselves over and over again, living in more chains, accused of playing games, taking the blame and constantly feeling drained, whether at work or at home, in romantic life or personal life, family life, drained.
Thanks so much, Augustina. Great. Next we have Margaret O'Regan, please.
Thanks, Jim. This is called The Devil Wears Debenhams, and it's an acrostic poem. It reads down the left, The Devil Wears Debenhams. It's the trade union campaign name. These Debenhams workers have paved the way every minute of every day. Dignified women and men are they, evil devils in Debenhams they face. Villainous vultures in boardroom culture imagine they can, with their despicable plan, lord it over the workers they slammed. Workers thrown on the scrap heap erupt and fight back, everyone so determined in this first COVID strike. A win for these workers is a win for us all, refusing to kowtow, not taking a fall, staying the course in all 11 stores. Debenhams directors, contemptible, covetous cretins, each and every one a grasping, avaricious louse. By standing up together wherever they gather, every one of these workers will go hell for leather. Non-ending solidarity at home and far afield has enveloped these brave fighters in a force field and revealed a strength and revelation so supremely divine, making them the spearhead of revolt during COVID, standing firm and steadfast in face of corporate greed. Thank you.
Margaret, that title is fierce.
It is, it's the name of the campaign. The trade union actually coined it, but unfortunately the officials in the trade union are not following up as they should. But the workers are just amazing. They're our heroes.
Yeah, still protesting, still fighting. Yeah.
Yes, always.
Thanks, Margaret. Okay, next, can we have the poet Jeff, please?
How are you, Jim? How's things?
Oh, great. Yeah, really good. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. You too. Right. I come from a Dublin that's old school, with home truths and youths and shiny tracksuits. I come from a place where the best haircut was the step. People got wrecked and we would just let roam the streets freely. My gang was 10 deep. We'd spend our days hanging around corners, and when night came upon us, we became night crawlers, getting into trouble and running back to our mothers. Yeah, we were right little couriers. See, days were simple for us. Getting into trouble and getting out without much of a fuss. If we needed a ball, we'd doctor a card for sponsorship. Door-to-door chances. Will you sponsor us, miss? Getting just enough money for a cup champion football and a few bag of chips. See, this is the innocence that I miss. I remember the first time one of the lads at a dirty mag. I remember when Big Al missed Halloween because he got sick from smoking fags. I remember being 15 and getting served and drinking cans with the lads. I remember when Git told me he kicked the needle out of one of the lads out in the flats. But we were happy little chaps. Hair gelled up our eyes under baseball caps. We'd slag off girls because we didn't want them to know that we liked them, or that we were into them, or that we'd spend all night dreaming of kissing them and all day pretend that we weren't looking at them, with the lads taking the absolute piss out of us because we wouldn't say that we wanted to wear the face off them. As nights had faded, go back to me gaff, spend some time with Dan, watch TV for a laugh, because Ours was a house that was always full of laughter. Even when my brother died. Even when the bank was at the door demanding money to take our house, me in the corner quiet as mouse, seeing this strange man shouting the owl and giving out because the house was in her name and they could fuck right off. Times after that were tight. But my ma was a fighter, she fought for all of us. When things were rough, she was there to pick us up. When I had to cover a hole in my runner with cardboard, she said, once it doesn't rain, son, you'll be grand, and that stopped making it awkward. This matriarch and incredible heart is the hero with this story. See, she once told me, they can take anything, son, but they can't take your education. These are the words that I live my life on. So when others were out gurrying, I was in studying. When I didn't get the exact exam results I wanted and started worrying, she was there to comfort me, to encourage me, to keep on going. And every time I get hockeyed out of my life, I just think of me dad and his wife, how they didn't bring up their kids to feel sorry and to never worry, because no matter what they take, if you have your education, you can take it back. And sometimes I think back to those lads in the flats with their hair gelled up in the eyes and their baseball caps, and I think, what if they listened to me, ma? They could still be here. Instead, they're either dead or they're strung out in smack. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Very powerful. Thank you. So next, can we have Andrea Imbrashmana?
Hi, sorry, I'm just writing "that was great, Jeff" in the chat. I'm not going to do it, am I? Okay, right. Okay. This is called "Love Goes Senile," and I wrote it because I feel like getting old is kind of, it's a really rare and precious thing. It feels that way even more so now in a post-COVID world. So love goes senile, fails to recognize itself in the mirror, looks at the razor, wondering what it was for. Watch love hobbling down the street. It looks lost. It's forgotten to put shoes on, but it still likes to hold hands. Love is bored of bonfires, lights one bar of the living room fire and leaves it on all of the time. Love can't remember what it's lost or where it left the note. Doesn't much mind. Okay.
Thanks so much, Andrea. Okay, so next we have Doc Janning from America, please.
Thank you. Chiliad Aeons of Time. Sky glows in pinprick passage and streaming symphony of stars across eldritch ebon veil of night. Music rises, echoing endlessly into inchoate chorale of colors. Galaxies beckon from beyond, yielding basso background. All gather brusquely, all gather building brusquely in Arios operatic expressions and Chiliad aeons of time. Buxom ballets de tout in sensual swirls of elegance, melding with powerful paeans of life and soaring serenades of love. Caparisoned crescendos of passion stir ecstatic bolide of entropy into endless ebullient eternity, pulsing polyphony of pleasure and coded climax of unabashed afterglow. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc. Next, can we have Cathal Holden, please?
Hey guys, how are you? So I've been bouncing back and forth on what I'm going to read, but because there's been some amazing flow on tonight, I'm going to read something new that I'm still cooking it, but it's called Bin Night. I wake up with the early worms, get dressed like I've got lives to save. Maybe I move the rubble after I grab an hour to meditate. Then I trim my stubble and my reflection in the microwave. Out into the underworld, I run to work beside the train. I leg the elevator up the building side, I jaywalk past your window on the top floor of your mind. I clock in on the steeple. For 9 hours I exist, hanging on the long ham by my goddamn fingertips, on top of my metropolis, taking the pre-apocalypse, all circus and no bread. It only swells inside your stomach, makes you feel like you've been fed. See the world's an insurance arson in a rundown local theater. Everything is real estate, the gods and fucking realtors. I hit the chicken soup kitchen for the bulletproof soul. Soup of the day-to-day is a sense of self-control. I drive stick and leaded, a priest down in the abattoir. I feed the vultures and the cannons by the grease-collecting reservoir. I empty out my pencil pairings for the woodworm and the pigeonholes. Then it's back to shrinking giants, to the wrong end of a microscope. And fate is writ upon the wall between the closing downs and coming soons. I'm sorry we can't serve you now. The kitchen's out of wooden spoons. Pinstripe every day, tourniquet casual, numb from the neck down, vegetable animal, underworld underground, peacoat and scarf, little gangrene round the guillotine scars. See, it's ever so easy to be perfectly balanced when you're standing on the shoulders of the vertically challenged. I light a cartoon cigar as I step into the street. Maybe it was drawn bad, maybe it's just cheap. I keep an appointment with my anesthesiologist. He dispenses purple evenings from an easy where my office is, in between the caveman and the anthropologist apologist sitting with the other broken broncos from the rodeo clown colleges. And I'm like, hey, with a long face. I take a cig. I've been trying to quit the vaporizers. I've been in the saddle thanks to emotional stabilizers. I got my prescription. You don't have to ask. Saturday is bin night. I go out with the trash.
Some poem, Carl. Well done. Okay, so next we have Amy Gurlitt, please.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
So this one is for Philip, that played a 6-word challenge with me during the pandemic when I was in need of poetry. He's the only one that will notice the words. A girl stared at herself in the mirror and began to mock herself. Look at this nose. Its tip almost touches the clouds. Look at this chin running into her collarbone as if it was afraid of something. And this face, way too serious, predestined to get asked to smile more. A girl rolled herself a cigarette and began to question her own hands. Have you done anything else except feeding yourself poison? Are you not here to create? Or at least touch another one with love? A girl cried into her palms and salty streams fled down her wrists. Darkened spots on the ground marked where she planted her sadness like seeds. A girl sat in her garden and began to speak to the mushrooms. Are you all alone here too? The grass, does it make you forget who you are sometimes? And is it true that the rain is sweet and gentle when it strokes your head? A girl closed her eyes and saw her heart for the first time. It was a landscape as magnificent as the Emerald Island, with cliffs just as tragic and secret pathways just as magic. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Amy. Next, can we have Paul Butterfield Jr.?
I think that's unmuted now.
Yep, we gotcha.
Cool, thanks. This poem's called The Dark Wank. I hate my heartbeat, yet I work from God, from a renaissance of dark wanks. I wait about in a day, thinking the next life is just the same as here, with the same alcoholics and the same faces that passed their turn. Yet, I am reunited with them in their blue bags. We never changed in body, mind, or shape, still searching for the same answers, and our prophets are even lost. Will any of us really know? Can we truly not just be at peace with Bacon's truth of the pitch? Even I don't cringe at my own obscurity anymore. But from my own obscure thinking, from a renaissance of dark wanks, I see this. The obscure is the death of little hearts that never even had a chance or the change of £100 in their torn pockets. It will take one solitary man to stand up for Bill's last speech, as he knew he was dying, and to make this happen for a truly happy world out of love and fascination. As I've mentioned before, as I look at myself in the living room mirror, I realize I am only human and only an artist. I would love to be that solitary man, but I cry at my own selfish penny-dropping charity existence. I can only do what I can from these dark wanks in hopes it will inspire that man. It's not about fame, the heart says to the artist. It is the difference you can make from the words you put together to cause a catalyst for the solid man and say this: I love you, life. I love you, people. I love this light, and we will always love from this flick. It's not about my death or the alcoholics. Even they and I stood a chance. It's all about the little hearts that died while I surrendered. Just listen to each soul that walks past, and you will know what to do straight from God to yourself. Life is all inspired from a renaissance of dark wanks who go out now and make love. As I've said before, what is reality? When you break it down through its component parts, it's nothing. We are all lost in something that we will never understand. But as I see a hunting dog so close to a bird, and all they want to do is kiss, I stand at the bottom of the stairs looking up. I walk slowly, escalating to the rim of dark wanks. I am debilitated and centered for the earth to spin in peace from my only heartbeat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paul. So next, can we have Scott Cole, please?
Hello. I've been since you left with no reason why, like Wordsworth's cloud in the empty sky. I cried more tears than Smokey's clown into Julie's river, damned with a frown. I've been as angry as Marshall Stan, crazed and confused like a madman, and I'm telling you, like Carly to Warren, your vanity's ugly, you're abhorrent. Like Gallagher Sally, you've missed your turn, and in my thoughts you will burn. I'll be gone, but you won't miss me. I'll be forgotten like the Beatles, Miss Rigby. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. So next, can we have Rishti, please?
Hello.
Hello.
This is my first poem in 2 years, and I'm absolutely hammered, so it's going to be an experience.
Good to have you back.
Thanks, Jim. It's very sexy. Okay. I used to think sex was this exclusively intimate thing, aimed to hold two souls together, feather-light touch, hushed tones, low moans, heart shown, caressing tender soft skin as if it would crack under pressure and sever and shrivel in pain as I pushed it beyond our measured pleasure. But that couldn't last forever, and I realized that one woman didn't represent other members' visions, and I began to surrender. At first I put up walls and castigated myself for feeling that healing required a period of celibacy, started to question and wrestle with others' perspectives and struggle through this repression. Why can't I find someone to give love to me? Why don't you want to see me whole, without realizing that the weight on my soul was palpable and the toll of thoughts of sharing that fever dream with another would smother if it ever happened truly. Treating myself so cruelly, I thought that I'd lost sight of my feelings, that they were a failure, that I was worthless, and even when I pushed through and pursued that intimacy, I just felt guilty and then empty. And I moved past that, and I was able to cast a vision of the future without that heavy soul groan as I faced into the unknown alone. I detached and realized that my need for touch was traced through physical surges, from primal urges that manifest themselves through drunken forays with stilted conversation the next day and strayed from the mind as if we were blind to the act, through unspoken tact and right tight smiles when passing by, to moments of release when the depth there was open and shared through a rare night of passion, as if fashioned by design to give us enough love to shine a light and pause the grinds of the struggles and strife of our private lives for just another little while. It felt both cruel and kind to separate the act from the mind. The wisp of touch upon my skin conflicted with the tinge of guilt if I risked the sin. I flinch and fade between these brain waves and stave thoughts of better timing, more knowledge, and wishing I just had a little bit less whiskey. And of course, once in a while, you meet someone totally compatible, and that gentle smell of herbal perfume blooms and breathes new life into a language of nonverbal communication. Racing hearts tapped into elation, ecstasy, and extremes, skin ripped to shreds, wet lips touch lifted hips, tracing the tips of sensitivity, gently pressing skin to skin, breast to chest, faces flushed and fierce. And for a moment, you'd swear that this is love, and the blood races to the precipices of our brain as we stop trying to contain ourselves and collapse aimless and tangled in heavy breaths, pulling deep and steep and slowly coming back to ourselves and realizing with maturity that making love isn't the same as falling in love, and that hard kisses simply aren't enough to make that relationship last. So I float unattached and meet and sleep without expectations, enjoying the moments of confinement, exploration, not seeking anything but experience, listening content to my consciousness, not putting hope in these raw moments of vulnerability, and not distraught by rejection, falling into a loving acceptance, knowing that my self-worth isn't defined by the act but supported by it, that sex isn't slowly a physical emotion but a thing, but something that is between meaningful and meaningless, and who knows what will grow. Maybe someday I will be able to gloat that I have achieved an intimate, emotional, sexual relationship that is sustainably both. Thank
Very
you.
much, Rishti. Okay, yeah, Doc. Next, can we have Myra Stevens, please?
Hi. Okay. Not done this one before, but after Dee's thing today, I thought I'd try it out here. It's based on something my dad told me about when he first came over and went to England the first time. Invited in, shipped in, to live and work and make their homes, welcomed with signs that read, no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. Signs that said, no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. So get along, move along. You're not welcome, not wanted here, but your labour's wanted. Your blood, sweat and tears are wanted. And they stayed and they worked, paid their taxes, paid their dues. The sign disappeared. Still in the pubs and clubs, the black jokes, the Irish jokes were told. In the corner of the living rooms, the televisions blared. The black jokes, the Irish jokes, the thick and lazy jokes. But they stayed and worked, paid their taxes, paid their dues, raised their families. Black jokes and Irish jokes, no longer on the television, still suspicion. Next generations born and bred English. The Irish, by the colour of their skin, blend in, still suspect but camouflaged at large, not denied opportunity. Can no longer say no blacks, no Irish with impunity. Can't say no blacks, no Irish with immunity, but still denied equality, less blatantly denied equality. And being black shows who you are. You cannot hide, should not hide, and the racism is there. They see the colour of your skin and cross the road, assume guilt, and when you say enough, when you say no more, when pushed, push back, they say, see, the blacks are violent, feel justified in their hate, justified to push you down, keep you down, justified in their injustice. So black and Irish stand, black and green, red, white and blue together stand, every hue hand in hand together stand, because black lives matter.
Thanks very much, Myra. Very powerful. So next, can we have Sue Blue, please?
Wow, what a night. It's getting longer. I'm going to do a poem that I recently done in Waterford as well, at the ModWords open mic on Friday, and we wrote this. We wrote on the topic of the other self with the Blue Mondays, and so this is a piece that came from that. My other self. My other self is a night owl, quiet and swift upon her wings, spread out, sailing softly until the hunt is on. Then, like a dart, silently swoops down in stealth, wings tucked, streamlined, drops from the starry sky beneath the quiet moon. My other self is the mouse, darting beneath the roots, digging tunnels, converging. My nest nestled in a cave, entrance and exit, leading upwards, moonlit, to the woods above the ground, with leaves and rocks to hide. There is always a way out. My other self is a tiger, stripy paws padded, smooth as silence, raw as wrath, slick as the supple night that calls the hunter to the bait, beating pulse, its death cry echoing, while my heart steadies under the warm flow of blood. My other self is a spider, arachnoid speed on hairy legs, weaving the magic, a sticky patch, an octopod waiting with patience at the lure. Stretched out in blind sight, designed to catch only the best, designed to leave a bite, a mark deep and scary. My other self is the night, itself soothing against the burning light of day, its quiet satin flow allowing for the song of the universe to pierce the darkness, come through to me. My tiny receiver nearly burning from the brightness of its music. My other self is an angel. The essence, like liquid light, flows through my veins as it flows through yours. And my wings, wide and white, carry me to where I'm needed, to you. As I touch you and wrap you, my feathers soft as a night owl's, this light flows over. My other self is you. Thanks very much. That's it for me.
Sue, that was really good. I love that.
Nice one, thanks. Thanks.
The arachnoid hairy legs. I love it. Okay.
Thanks.
Next, can we have Ada Miles, please?
Yeah, thanks. This is an amazing night. All the points. I want to read something I once sent to Wales competition, 5 awards. I retitled it since then. It was called Monuments and Cutlery. Now it's called The Flip Side. It's inspired part by the suggested 5 awards and part by Ian Durer in the Blockheads, the punchy texts and the sound. And I wonder if I can do it a bit like Ian Durer himself. We'll see. It's about the crappy quality of almost any device you buy nowadays. And I think it's a very, it's a very good topic. It happens to be. The awards were CZG, Glass, Innocent, Coin, and Lilt. Need to get the breather. Signs form a nest of sense from the snakes grow out and linked in charm, the loitering to vie, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it then. Instead, allowed to stand, infused, observed with glassy stares a bit, it soon becomes a monument. Its uselessness becomes a hit. A stitch in time will save it none if you should really want to use this marvelous appliance. Mind, the monument is innocent as coins that brought it to your home. Peculiar and all it made, but there, with the utensils part, don't let the stress corrode your mind. This means you should be well advised for you to find yourself a place where one's enabled simply with a syzygy of knife and fork to sagely seize a scissor fit. Ourselves, we would suggest you hit the capital, a lovely place. sings from a nest of signs, a choir of snakes adorned with corporate wear, and lilts and charms loitering to eye and clank the cutler. That's it. Hyper quality all over the place. I've known it and I will know it since now many times more.
You can find that
Okay.
book in the anthology, or that poem in the anthology, can't you? That one got
No, it didn't win anything, but I still think it was worth giving it a chance as a live performance.
Ah, okay. I remember the word syzygy. Okay, thanks
Yeah,
very
yeah,
much,
syzygy.
Ada.
Good word. Thanks for me.
Okay, next can we have Emilie Davis Fletcher?
Hi. I remember when I was the only American on here. Okay, so I'm going to read an old poem that I wrote 7 years ago now, after my birthday, and it was just my birthday recently, so I'm going to read this poem again. All right, so this is Turning 30. Now you blame no one and nothing, not heat wringing your body, not the crystal ball revealed in your mother's lung, not the caged mutt salivating for coming rain like blood, not the cicada's sex rattle or the trees dressed for hangings, not the man who grabbed your thighs to pull you from an angel oak, not stories of ghosts and first loves rising over the exhaust of hearses corralled out back as gray dawn blows out shadows of leaves across his wood, not the skin you left behind, still feeling for the first time you own every move, ripe with loss as you outlive another death.
Thanks very much, Emilie. So next, can we have Mary O'Connell, please? You're still mute there, Mary. I think I can send you a thing to unmute. Yeah.
Am I not? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Well, Debenhams is getting another little mention after Margaret's Regan's mention. This is called Lost for Words. Imagine you're in Debenhams chatting to a friend when suddenly a word you know slips outside your mind. You make efforts to retrieve it, fear you'll be found out. Past experience only shows that panic makes things worse. You gently try to nudge it back to where it was before, but delicate maneuvering has no effect at all. You know that you should let it be, hoping it comes back, not sink when swallowed by the void, lost without a trace. Meanwhile, you see your puzzled friend waiting for a sign that you'll take up the thread of what you've been trying to say. You realize the game is up. Know that the time has come to explain a senior moment has stopped you making sense. You paraphrase as best you can what you've been trying to say. With a nod of recognition, the friend is seen to smile. The word that you've been searching for, she has understood. You feel relieved on hearing her mouth it into sound. That's it.
You and Margaret make me want to do a Debenhams poem now. I'm gonna have to do one.
Okay.
Thanks, Mary. So next, can we have Philip Spillane, please?
Hey everyone, it's a pleasure to see you all again. Because it's my birthday month, I always do something risky on my birthday month. I have Master Yupa here and I was going to play a small instrumental. I was going to do a poem on top of that, but since we got a warning of time, I might just do the instrumental. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Because I want to hear more poems instead of my own, because I hear my own every day. And so this is called Wind Without a Name. And you're more than welcome to, because my voice isn't that strong, you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and help me out with your throat singing or your humming or your harmonic talent. Be really, really grateful.
Wait a minute, harmonic. Wait, I'm good. No, I won't get it.
Thanks very much. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Phil. Next, can we have Mags Creedon, please? You're still mute there. I'll send you a little thing. Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we just were asked to read something on being invisible. So I'm afraid this came out. I like happy ones, but these sometimes a little different forms of invisibility. He dons a mantle of oblivion so that no one sees the state he's in. Drops his eyes, don't engage. Stops him reading from his page. Just change the color of your skin. Morph like you're a chameleon. Blend into the foliage. Sink into your camouflage. May secret messages encrypt you. Encoded smoking signals cloak you. Like an aging woman, they'll look through you to themselves. Like a cat at night will steal right past you. Slick and back, he'll sneak right to you. Click the latch, he's in there. Leave you wondering just where. Like a child who keeps his eyes right down. A duty bound, won't look around. Silent he stays, transparent and pale. Make sure not to be found in there. Go to the land of the disappeared, where they stow away all their hidden fears. Deep in the ground, where pain cannot be found, be invisible, my dear. He dons his mantle of oblivion, so that no one sees the state he's in. Drops his eyes, won't engage, stops them reading from his page. Just change the color of your redly skin, morph just like a chameleon, blend into the foliage, slink into your camouflage, be invisible, my dear. That's it. Do a happy one next night.
Thanks very much, Mags. We had a lot of poets there. I just want to check, Pam, did I get you, or did I?
You got
oh, so I just saw your private message there. Okay, that's fine, no problem. Okay. Okay, so thanks very much, Mags. Next, has Doc gone? You've gone already, haven't you, Doc? Yeah, okay. All right. So next then on the list is Kieran McCartan, please.
Hello, how are we all? I'll say a big hello to all the Coventry folks, Rafe and Andrea and everybody. We were thoroughly smitten by Coventry when we went over there a couple of years ago, so hope you're all doing well. Glad to see you're able to join us virtually. This is just a short little poem. I don't call it God. I don't think God is necessarily what it should be called when talking about the thing you're talking about when you talk about God. What's known to have happened is enough. What is happening, what was. That the shelves in the high Rockies were once under the sea, that you've only ever been 7 degrees separated from me. That I look the image of ancestors I've never met, that there's some things I never remember and some I never forget. That there are 3,700 voices on the streets not far from here, and all of them have choices and all of them have fear and hope and admiration for the scenes they set upon. May the worst not tempt me, may my day not be too long. Just long enough to participate, reiterate and bounce, fed, watered and welcomed with nothing to announce. That the beauty of the reel-to-reel is in the rolling of the film, that your senses take in everything, that your mind acts on whim. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Kieran. So I think I've got, have I missed anyone?
Cedric.
Cedric. Okay.
The winner.
Sorry, Cedric. There's about
Keep
100
very
messages
still.
there. I missed you.
Sure. I think there's Catherine is on there as well. Did Pam actually read? Yeah.
Pam read, yeah.
Okay, so it's
Mine is very, very, very short, so don't worry.
No problem.
Hi, Catherine. Won't you be short enough?
I think Cedric is first. I don't mind.
Either way, it's fine.
Okay, well I'm super short, so
go ahead.
Go right
so
ahead.
Catherine. Yeah, go ahead.
My poem is called Pages, but it's only 8 lines long. Pages. I cannot kiss your blank mouth. Too many stories to tell in an hour. But in a day of folding, I might grieve, seek your shoulder, feel young again, turn the pages.
Hey,
okay, nice.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Catherine.
you.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
Okay, so Cedric.
Yeah. So mine is called Anthem. The sky will show colors always. Only the eye of a beholder will find in its beauty. And the word will go round, one revolution at a time. The heavens will cycle through. The tree of evolution is inflamed. Civilization beat, hearts burn, wisdom of the earth flattened to a line. There is justice under the sun. It's brown, golden, tanned, cream. Yet the truth isn't heard. The blue blood spills red, unashamed, trying black and blue to choke the scream. Spit from the castle's walls down the street. No lives can ever matter, for all their shades fade to white and gray, ashes from charcoal. Smoke raising to the sky from the campfire of life, where all waited for the night to end. They burnt out from a flame, a shame they once carried themselves to this place, to reflect, to rest. This tomorrow will follow, without a need for agreement, one revolution at a time. The arrogance of comfort will prove shallow. The day will rise, and the sun will burn, the white color back to dark crime. No life will matter either then. The sky will show colors again, with no beholder to find its beauty.
Thanks so much, Cedric, our 5-word challenge winner.
Thank you.
So I think that actually that is the end of the open mic. So thanks so much to all of our readers. It was a really long marathon of a night and it was amazing. I haven't missed anyone? No? I don't think so. No. Okay. But it was a fabulous marathon of poetry tonight. Like it was much longer than a normal Ovale, I think. And it was so enjoyable. And so can we just have a big round of applause again for our guest poets, Emilie Lauren Jones. All the muted applause. Yay. Emilie, and also to our other guest poet, Matt Black.
Thank you.
So thanks everyone for coming. It was so good to hear all of you. Are we having a mains, or as in an after party, or does that?
I think I better stop the live stream on Facebook, and then we can go crazy.
Okay. See you everyone on Facebook.
Bye, folks.